Hello everyone, welcome back to Jacqs and thanks for joining me today. I thought I would share another December daily page, which is actually day one for me. So let's get started. So as you guys know, if you've been following me a while, I'm a journaler and I write in my journal almost every day. And so I wanted to capture several different stories that happened on December 1st. So one of the first ones that happened was the fact that I ended up talking to 3 of my family members that weren't in my household, as well as my best friend. I had the cell phone image in the back, the word together, and I'll have that link down below where I got it from the sweet shop, I believe. And then these images of the old style phone handles, which I thought was kind of cute. And then I added pictures of everybody that I talked to that day. I added this sentiment from the Tracy Reed collection that says, making the best of it. And then I think this image here is from the Graphic Fairy, if I'm not mistaken. And then I added this word hello, as if this is me calling all of them. So I really like capturing that. Even though we're in this and making the best of it, we are still keeping in contact and being together, which is wonderful. So I have this little panel. That's my first story for December 1st. My next story is the fact that in Northeast Ohio, we had our first big, heavy snowfall. And so I have another panel here. This image is actually from one of our news weather persons here in Ohio, Mark Johnson, and he took this photo and I borrowed it. And I took part of it and blew it up here to make this. And then I wrote on it here, the first heavy snow of the season. So there I have 2 of my stories. Next, the main story for December 1 is this. So on November 30, our cat was kind of going a little crazy in the house and we couldn't figure out why. So I went down to make sure that, everything was okay. His litter box is down there. And when I got down there, a part of the basement was like 1 or 2 inches deep of water in front of our washer and dryer here. All this area here was full of water. And there was kind of an odor. And so I called my mom over here. I called my mom and I'm like, what is this? I'm a new homeowner. And so I contacted Roto-Rooter, and they were excellent, by the way. They came out the next day. They arrived before they said they were going to be here. They texted me when they were on their way so I would know the person's name and everything. It was wonderful. They wore a mask and gloves and stuff. And so water had ended up coming up from 2 of the drains in my basement, 1 on each side. I have a very large basement because I have a ranch house. And so the basement goes all along the sides of the house. So there was water on one side and flowing over into the other side. And so my son took care of this for me, and he met with the guy, and they got it fixed. And so afterward, then we had to clean up the basement. So that's kind of what you see here. And because these aren't really pretty pictures, I was trying to make the layout a little bit more desirable. I added some of the paper that's in the digital kit that I'm using from Tracy Reed here on the sides. I added my text here in red so that it would go along with the side paper here. These 2 images here at the top are before pictures, if you will. My son here is helping to vacuum up the water that was on the basement floor. And here is the mud, and I was cleaning that part of it up. These 2 pictures down here show that, they're clean after we did all that work to get the mess up. And then I used a little mask here. And so the great part of this whole little kit that Tracy has is this little Grinch card, and it says, this year stink, stank, stunk. So it not only talks about, this stinks that we had this happen in our basement, it also talks about the year. So I just love that. When I was thinking about my layout for this and these stories, I was thinking about the fact that this happened in the house. So I wanted to create a house. So for this layout, I created all of these pages in Photoshop, and then I printed them out. On the back of this one, I have the brick pattern, as well as these two little pieces. So these are 3x8, and I'm going to adhere these to the main paper that is 6x8. And they're going to kind of open up like little doors, but we're going to dress these up as if it is a house. So I thought I would just show you some of the stuff that I'm using, and then just probably do this creation, putting it all together without talking through it. And if I have anything that I want to mention, I'll just, come in and mention it. So what I decided to do was use this die that I got from AliExpress. It was a door die. And when it came, I was shocked at how tiny it was, but actually this was perfect for my project. So now I'm really glad that I got it. I'll be using some of this silver scalloped trim that I think I got this from Target. Yeah. Look, from Valentine's Day, probably last year or so. And then I have this green decorative trim, which is also scalloped, that I'll be using. This is felt. I may or may not use some of these pom-poms from the Dollar Tree. And then I have everything cut out that I need. Here's my little door. I cut this out a couple times because of the way I want to do it. So, yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to get started, and the first thing I'm going to do is take these two 3x8 pieces, and I'm going to score down the side of them about 1/4 of an inch is how I figured it. So that's why you see white here on each side of the panels. I allowed room for where I'm going to glue this down to the main page. Now, this one I'm definitely gluing down and then going to have it so it'll flip open. This side over here, I thought about gluing down, but then I was thinking about my rings. As you know, I'm using 2 rings this year. And I thought I may leave this page loose so that you can flip it open over the rings rather than gluing it down and then folding it back to open it. I hope that makes sense. You'll see in the end. All right, I'm going to get started. So for this part, what I'm doing is gluing on the decorative piece of the door that I cut out onto the white piece that I cut. What's cool about this die is that it does leave a score line so that you can open the door. But I don't need it to open, not for this project. So if you see, the door opens here, leaving the frame, which is cool. But I'm going to flip this over and then add this door onto it so that I can glue it all together. And then it cuts out these panels. And what I'm going to do is I have a white wood decorative piece. I'm going to flip it over and use the white piece on where they cut those out. Just for a little bit of variation. So I have the door all done. I think it looks cute. I used lighter colors because I wanted it to pop on the brick. Now what I want to do is have one side adhered and the other one using a Velcro dot to lift the page up. So I'm using these sticky dots. These are 0.5 raised. Got it Tuesday morning. And I'm using the line here from the cut of the 2 pages to kind of figure it out. So I added 3 of those sticky dots and a 1 Velcro dot on this side. I think 1 should be enough of the Velcro. So I think that looks good. I'm not measuring it to be exact or anything. It doesn't have to be. So then when we lift the door, if we didn't have this clip on there, it would open up the page. Now, the next thing I have are windows. So what I did with the die, it came with this centerpiece for the door inlays. Well, I just cut out the 4 inlays and then I cut around them to create my windows. So I'm going to have 1 on each side. I did those 2 by hand. And then I cut some shutters, and I cut these out with my Cricut Explorer. So these last couple weeks, like the end of November to beginning of December, have not been very good. I'll just say that. And one of the bad things is my Cricut Maker stopped working. And that just kind of put me in a funk of not wanting to create. It was kind of depressing, and yeah, it's like, you know, when your computer goes down and you kind of get lost. You can't get on the computer, you don't know what to do, and I don't know, I was just stymied by it. And so I dug up my old Cricut. I had a Cricut Explorer, I think it was like one of the first ones. And that wasn't working right. It still isn't working. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I was lucky enough to have it work and cut out these shutters because I would not want to do that by hand. Meanwhile, I have contacted Cricut support. They were unable to help me over the phone. I had to create a video of both machines and what they were doing and send it to them. So that's what I've done. And now I'm just kind of waiting. Again, I'm just placing these by, you know, by looking at them. I haven't really mapped everything out. So in Cricut Design Space, I had to take these shutters off of another design. I just did a search for windows, and then I found one that had shutters on them, and then I sliced these off of the image. And I'm going to put them right next to it. Okay, so here the windows are all done and the door. I added some yellow cardstock in the back to make it look like the lights on in the house. Kind of like that. Now for the top, I was going to add this silver trim to make it look like it's the roof of the house. See, like that? I think that would be really cute. I wish they would have had the windows down a little bit further, but that's okay. We're winging it. So we're just going to add this. Try to use my Fabri-Tac. Okay, we have the roof done, and what I was going to do was use the green felt down here at the bottom. Well, I think it looks good, but I also think it makes it look more summery and not very wintry. So I'm going to not do that. I have these Chanel stems in my stash, and I think I'm going to add them down at the bottom. And it makes it look like there's, you know, a collection of snow there. I think that's kind of cute. I had originally thought about doing the pom-poms, but it would just, these are kind of thick pom-poms, and I don't want it to be already a bulging page. So I think I'm going to go with this, and we'll see how that turns out. Trying to bend in the pointy ends a little bit so I don't hurt myself. That's cute. All right. Gosh, I think that's cute. It's so fluffy. Adorable. I like it. All right, let's take this off and open the door. This would fold over, and this folds up. Okay, need to work, give it a little work here. I didn't think about the things that I added like this when I was doing that. So I think I'm going to have to cut some of this off. And I didn't think about the ribbon either, but I think that's workable. All right. So there it is. Well, I thought I was done, but I ended up doing a little bit more decorating, and I'm so glad I did. It just looks so adorable right now. I added some of these foam snowflakes from the Dollar Tree. I found a wreath in some of the stash that I have. This is from A Perfect Winter by Lori Whitlock. Echo Park Enamel Shapes. Right there. Now these stickers here, I actually got from Hobby Lobby probably a year or two ago. They were just in the Christmas section, just Christmas foil stickers. And then this snowman here, I got from the Dollar Tree as well, probably last year. Christmas house stickers. I love how this looks. So let's put it in my journal. Now I wanted to show you guys what it looked like with the tree in front of it, and I am loving it. I just love the way that looks. So homey. So we turned the page there. I did finish adding the presents from the first video that I did. And here is our little house. And we open the door, and we can flip this over and flip this out. Now the more that I open this page, the easier it will be to flip that out, but that's how it looks. I'm not going to bother covering this, I don't think. It doesn't bother me, and you really aren't looking there, you're looking here. So I love how this turned out. So I hope that you all have enjoyed this particular December daily layout. And if you create one like it, please tag me. I would love to see it. And I thank you for joining me. All right, everyone. See you next time.